Fee, okay?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
looked aghast right there.
It was the nothing.
Well, now he's gone. And now he's back.
And he's
Ladies and
back.
gentlemen, welcome to Three and Out. It is our final, our season finale, if you would. Season six is coming to an end. We do not do the playoffs because if you have your players, hopefully you know what to do at this point. But we will talk a little playoffs. I am your host, Wayne Cavati, and joining me as always for one more episode are the best co-hosts in fantasy football. Chris Fanduel Fee Fiamano and Mike, the Professor Dutton. Gentlemen, anything to say on this final episode, Fee? It feels like you got something on your mind.
Well, I just want to say since the fantasy regular season just ended last week, and now this is the first week of the playoffs coming up here in the next few days, I want to say that I hate fantasy football. I hate the Eagles. I hate Jalen Hurts. This was supposed to be my year. And F you, Dutton, and shut your mouth, Wayne.
Uh, the league.
Like,
Dutton,
seriously,
any parting
negative,
words?
negative 4 points.
Well,
You
I
all
think he finished with negative 1.85 or something.
like all you needed was what, 12 points from
12,
him?
yeah.
And
It
you
was
were
it was the what was it? It was the second worst performance of the season. The five worst quarterback, where do I have it? Right here. The five worst quarterback things of the season, two of them happened this weekend. Patrick Mahomes was the worst quarterback single game quarterback ranking against the Texans. Jalen Hurts was the second worst.
which is terrible to think that Patrick Mahomes was worse than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, it was the worst of the year. 19.5, I think. So it was in the teens. Everyone else was at least 20 or 30.
So bad.
But Mahomes, yeah. Um,
It was brutal watching that. And
this
just
was
so the listeners know, Fiamano was the number one seed. And even if he lost, he was the number one seed as long as he didn't get outscored by like a
40.
40. And he
Jalen
lost
Hurts
by
got minus
52
four.
because
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts was a disaster.
yeah, yeah. I think this was the toughest fantasy football season in our 28, 29 years of doing it to get through for everybody. Fee was able to go on an 8 game winning streak, piling up points because you didn't have to deal with the injuries until this week, and then A-Chain goes down and Jalen Hurts lays a turd, and now you finally felt what everyone else has been going through all season.
Yeah.
But I say that because I feel like this might have been, I don't want to sound like boastful and bragging. I feel like we had our best content of the season because we had to work so hard to make sure we knew what we were talking about. And I really had a lot of fun this year. Hopefully, our listeners did too. But we got one more week to get you through the playoffs. Let's get started on some conversations. First, what we're going to do is we're going to have a conversation. It's not on the spreadsheet, but was in our text message yesterday for a longtime listener, Courtney. She has talking about injuries. She has Drake London. She has a bunch of people like that. And now she's down to Baker and Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. Baker is playing the Falcons, but it's on Thursday night. We all hate Thursday night football.
Mhm.
And Mahomes, as we just said, is coming off the worst quarterback rating performance of the season. And he is playing who? The Chargers?
The
No,
Chargers,
Chargers.
who
it
just held
isn't.
Jalen Hurts to negative
A
1.85.
-1 point.
Right.
So who are you starting?
I I told you Baker just because I think the weapons and the urgency behind the Bucks having to win this game. The Bucks have backed themselves into a corner. Get out of fantasy world, which will help fantasy, but go into reality for a second. The Bucks can't afford to lose any more games, right? And that could help fantasy wise because Scrappy Baker is everybody's favorite Baker. When Fee loves Baker the best, so that's why I went
True.
with Baker,
That's
right?
a good point.
Yeah,
Fee.
I'm on Baker also, but it's really more so because I think that the Chargers defense is for real. They showed it against the Eagles. I know that the Eagles offense is putrid at the moment, but Kansas City hasn't been much better. You just talked about how Mahomes had an awful week. Travis Kelce is not himself. He's clearly kind of packed it in here. They're basically done. They're mathematically still alive, but it would take them to win out. And I don't know that I see that happening. And even if they do, I think this is going to be a low scoring game just because
Mm,
of that Chargers defense.
yeah.
And they, Herbert's hurt. And I just don't see Mahomes and that offense, or the Chargers offense pushing the Chiefs offense to do more than they actually have to. And so I think it's a low scoring game, and I think you kind of want to be on Baker on for if those are your two choices, I think Baker's probably your best option.
Yeah, I think you gotta go with Baker by default. So we did see history in that Eagles game as Jalen Hurts was the first person to turn the ball over twice on the same play.
That was insane.
No, it still doesn't make sense, and I didn't see it live. And when I saw it after everyone was talking about it, it was because the Monsters Inc. was on, and the Monsters Inc. just stopped, like
It
nothing was
broke it.
happening.
It
Yeah,
broke the
bro.
Monsters Inc. feed.
They're like, wait
uh,
a minute, this can't happen.
no, we I thought we were going to see history this Sunday, but it turns out that Philip Rivers is actually not the first grandfather to play in the NFL. Do either of you two know who the first was?
Um,
Why a tittle?
No, but I like the tittle.
it's got to be
Titillating. It's
like,
titillating. It's actually way more recent. It's Brett Favre.
Oh, that makes
In
sense.
his final
oh,
season, he became a
Yeah.
grandfather, and
Mhm.
yeah, so he is the first, and then Philip Rivers will be the second. Philip Rivers last played when there was a global pandemic, and we started this show. Just to put it in perspective, we're in season 6. Uh,
The last time he played, there weren't fans in the stands.
no, and we were talking about him potentially being a starter sit, and then we haven't ever since that first season. Uh, two very different comments on our spreadsheet here. Dutton, you start with yours.
Okay, all I can picture in my head is the scene in Rocky 4 where Apollo is trying to convince Rocky why he should be fighting him.
Yep.
Like, I need somebody to make that into the
Yeah.
meme, right? Like, and then the next thing I see is the Seattle Seahawks defense. If he dies, he dies. Like, seriously, that's where we are.
Yeah. Yeah. No joke. Fee, you're excited?
I am excited. I said hell yeah because I think it's awesome, and I think that he's going to be better than people think. I don't
No
know if he's.
way.
I don't even know if he's playing this week. Do we even
Oh,
know if
he's
he's playing?
playing.
They're saying he's playing.
He
I
is
mean,
Yeah.
everybody
playing.
said we've talked about the cat and mouse game all year, but as of right now, they're saying he's playing.
Um, I think it's awesome if he does play. I think that he'll be better than people think, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Do you think Tyler Warren and Michael Pittman are elevated with do you think he still has a cannon? Like he had a cannon.
I think he still does have a cannon.
Yeah, 44 years
I
old.
think I saw some clips of him like practicing, and he was firing bullets at people.
Yeah.
Like he definitely still has a cannon for an arm.
He was wearing a red jersey. They're not going near him. The Seahawks are coming.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. But I'm starting if I had him, I'm starting Tyler Warren this week because I think Philip Rivers loves a good tight end. Hell yeah. Uh, okay, so at the beginning of the season, and I'll admit mine was way off and mine were decimated by injuries. I went with a sleeper Super Bowl pick, and I said the Washington Commanders and the Los Angeles Chargers were going to meet in the Super Bowl. Obviously, injuries have derailed both of those two teams' chances. I don't remember who you two said. Maybe you remember.
I picked the Ravens and the Eagles.
Fee, do
And
you
I
remember
think
who you picked?
I think Fee did too.
I
I bet
don't
you I could go back
remember.
on this spring sheet spreadsheet. Let's
Yeah.
see.
I don't think I'm going to pick the Ravens and the Eagles tonight.
I'm definitely not picking the Chargers and NFL Super Bowl teams. Nope, Fee didn't write his in, so that doesn't help me at all.
I'm telling you, I picked the Ravens and the Eagles. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Uh,
I'll have to go back and look.
okay. So who do we think are I mean, the Eagles. Last week we talked about are they contenders or pretenders? Dunton was on the fence. Fee said they're still contenders. What do we think after what we just saw?
I told you they were pretenders last week, and I'll stick to it. They are pretenders
There's
Yeah,
because
something wrong.
I'm 100% changing my mind.
There's something wrong.
I'm going
Longtime listener
Bills.
Barras, I didn't realize this, that it's another new OC,
yep.
and I forget what he said. Is Serrani calling the plays or no? And
Sirianni, no, but this is I heard today that this is Jalen Hurts
yeah,
like
fourth or fifth,
eighth. No, but
that many.
if you go back to college, it's just
Oh, because he
is like
changed
his eighth
colleges.
offensive coordinator in like 9 years or something. Like
Yeah,
it's insane. Like that's crazy.
You know what? You know what? Also, the crazy thing is, as awful as they were, they still went to overtime in that game,
Yeah,
and they
because the
had
Chargers were just as bad.
yeah, and had a completely had a chance to win that game,
yeah, but their
which is
quarterback
just
was playing with a broken hand and did not turn the ball over twice on the same play. Let's
That is
remember who
true.
did and who
That
didn't.
is true.
And that has nothing to do with an offensive coordinator. The fumble part, Jalen Hurts tried to be a hero. He should have just
Yeah,
fallen on it. I
just
mean,
fall on
like
the
it
ball.
was
Just fall
bad
on the
football.
ball.
And that's
Yeah.
not, you can't blame anybody but him for that one.
Here's the other thing, though. Like they talked about it briefly right after it happened, but the only reason that they had a touchdown from Saquon is because there was a blatant hold that
there was. I
No,
saw.
yeah. Yeah,
they
yeah. Oh, the
talked
big
about it.
run.
Like
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
had his
Yeah.
shoulder back.
Yeah. Yeah. So who's our Super Bowl teams? Fee, start with you.
All right, I am going with the Rams in the NFC, and I had such a hard time picking an AFC team. Um, I just because I got there I don't know. I had such a hard time, and I don't believe in anybody. But if there's one team I think that can get there, I think it's the Bills, and that's who I'm going with, the Rams and the Bills. I just the AFC is just I don't know, man. There's just
Yeah.
nobody. The Bengals aren't going to make it, so like they're out. Kansas City's not going to make it, they're out. I do not believe in the Jaguars or the Texans. The Steelers and the Ravens, no. Um, the Chargers or the Broncos, no.
Yeah.
And like all that leaves is the Patriots and the Bills, and it's like
Experience versus
I don't know,
new
man.
guys.
I mean, just because there's no one else to choose, I'm going with the Bills.
Fair enough. Dutton.
Um, Similar mindset on the AFC. This look, if Josh Allen cannot get at least to the AFC Championship without Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow in the playoffs, right? Like those three are gone. Like let's be
Yeah.
honest. There's a slim chance that Mahomes gets in there, but I don't think Lamar's getting in to the playoffs. I don't think the Bengals are out. They had to win every game. So I went with the Bills. I do think that it's going to be the Texans Bills AFC Championship. I think the Texans are going to surprise a lot of people, but
I
I
don't think it's
think
a surprise anymore.
I think it's a surprise now that we're saying, "Whoa, watch out for the Texans," right? Like I don't think people were thinking that back in October, right? With the way they started and stuff.
Sure.
Um, NFC, for some reason, I have the Seahawks winning the NFC West, which means that the Rams will not have home field advantage, which means they'll play the Packers in the NFC Championship game in Lambeau Field. So that's why I'm picking the Packers. So I have Packers, Bills, which would make the two women in my house very happy. But
I'm going
Yeah, I
Rams
just
Texans.
yeah.
Mainly because of what Fee said, that it's really hard to find the Patriots, Bills, and Texans are the only three teams I think that can make a run. And the Texans beat the Bills. And I don't know that they wouldn't again. They don't have the receivers that to help Josh Allen. I know James Cook is great, but that front seven is going to shut down anybody. They're not afraid of anybody. And so we know they could beat the Bills. And I know it's hard to beat the team twice in the same season of the Bills caliber, but the Texans, I get what you're saying, Fee, that the offense isn't there, but it's enough. And CJ Stroud is getting healthier and healthier. And I really do. I think the Texans make the
I mean,
Super
we've
Bowl.
seen it before, right?
Yeah.
The 02 Ravens, the 01 Ravens, the
Yeah.
02 Bucks. Like I mean,
Like I said to you on the text, they play the Raiders and the Cardinals this weekend, so they'll either lose one or definitely both because they're the Texans, and that's what the Texans do. Okay, and obviously before we get into the final starts and sits and Fanduel Fee stacks of the week of the season, we have to talk about injuries because we can't escape a major week without any major injuries. Moving into the playoffs, Daniel Jones is out. We already talked about Philip Rivers doing that, but we're talking about a Colts team that had three weekly must start guys pretty much outside of Daniel Jones and Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, and Tyler Warren. What happens to those guys for the playoffs? Either one of you.
Well, you have to start Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
There is no other option there. He's one of the best running backs in the game. He got you to where you are now. There's no way you're not starting him. So that's, point A, right? The rest of them, sit everybody else.
Yeah.
Don't even bother. Don't bother with Tyler Warren. Don't bother with Michael Pittman. I don't care that Philip Rivers throws to the tight end. Don't start anybody else. And if any of those guys come up with a couple of touchdowns or like 5 or 6 catches and like 50, 60 yards, so be it. But there's no way you can start any of those guys with any confidence whatsoever, other than Jonathan Taylor.
And Jonathan Taylor's been ice cold for him the last 3 weeks since Daniel Jones has been injured, like not like playing injured is what I mean. Dutton.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like Taylor was on a decline before Daniel Jones was out, and now I'd be really worried if you were banking on Jonathan Taylor carrying you through the playoffs. It's hard to sit Jonathan Taylor, but it's also like, whoa, he's not going to give me the same production.
Yeah, and they have the Texans left.
Right. And their matchups are not favorable for them. And then yeah, I'm with Fee. I mean, look, like all those guys that you mentioned, Warren, Pittman, even what's his face, the other wide receiver. What's his name?
Oh,
Pierce.
Josh
Pierce.
Downs.
Yeah, Pierce. No, Pierce.
Oh, Alec
right?
Pierce. Yeah.
Alec Pierce. Yeah. I just think all of their floors have gone way down. Like
Yeah.
you're not.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Like you might, like Fees, you said it. You might get a big surprise here, but it's so risky. Like it's not a guarantee. Like put this guy in and get me 12 points. Like like.
Well, we said that about Flacco, and Flacco has made fantasy legitimate stars this year on two
Right.
different teams.
Yeah, but he was also playing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And thank God you didn't trade me Jonathan Taylor during the season. Appreciate that. Thanks, man.
I wrote here for the injuries, Jalen Hurts' ego, but we already talked about Jalen Hurts enough on the show, so we'll just go past him. Jaden Daniels and Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz, I didn't see until the next day, and I mean his career is done, right?
It's an ACL.
Oh, it is. It's a torn ACL.
Yeah,
but I mean the leg went.
Yeah, it's just a torn ACL, but he had come back out of retirement once already, so
that's what I'm saying,
yeah,
right?
Like,
he's done.
I think he was done at the end of this year anyway. I think this is just like, yep, I'm done.
Is he a Hall of Fame tight end?
He's a borderline.
I'd have to check his stats, but I'm not entirely sure. Like offhand, I'd say no.
He's probably like the Eli Manning of tight ends.
Without looking at anything, like without knowing all his stats and all of that, I'd say no. Just off the top of my head, but I'd have to look and see, like where he stands.
He has 8,592 yards receiving and 57 touchdowns. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler, and last year almost won the Comeback Player of the Year.
Did he win a Super Bowl? Was he on the Eagles that first time they won a Super Bowl?
I don't think so, right? He had already left, or maybe I can't remember. When was that?
What year? It was 2000. Like
he was on the team 2018.
Yeah, 2018.
Okay,
and he was on that team that won the Super Bowl.
Right.
So so he has a Super Bowl.
Right.
He's 26th amongst tight end all time for like Hall of Fame. You know how Pro Football Reference makes that Hall of Fame number? He's 26th all time. So maybe not. Maybe not.
He does hold the NFL record for most receptions in a season by a tight end.
Let's see. I didn't know that. Interesting.
Eli Manning of
Although I don't know if that's I don't know if that's true either. I mean, that's what Google says, but
well, that 2018 season, he had 116 receptions. That's a ton. That's a ton
Yeah.
for a wide
Ah,
receiver.
so maybe he does hold the record.
Yeah. If I'm reading this right, 2018, 116 receptions. He had 156 targets. Jaden Daniels done for the year, right? Like they're not bringing him
Like
back.
he should
Well,
have been done for the
he
year.
should be.
He should have been done 2 weeks ago. Like
Yeah.
they shouldn't have brought him back.
Yeah, so what I said is he 100% should be. He's out this week. If they play him again any other game this season, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And all they're doing is bringing is doing what they did to RG3.
Yeah, they're perpetuating the RG3 story. Like they're
Yeah,
And
just
didn't the
keeping it.
they're
RG3
gonna they're
mom
gonna
let them?
RG3 him if they
Yeah.
do that.
Tyrod Taylor is injured, and I don't know who that fellow was that played quarterback for the Jets. They did not sign a 95-year-old grandfather to play quarterback for him, so we're going to see Cook again. Uh, they have Jacksonville, which is a pretty good defense. New Orleans is whatever the heck they are. You could get Jets New Orleans tickets for $13 right now, in case you're wondering. And New England. So the Jets have Jacksonville, New Orleans, and New England. Tyrod Taylor's out. We don't know the quarterback. Was Brees Hall even in the conversation to be a starter with Tyrod Taylor against that schedule? What do you think, Fee?
I think yes, but not now.
Definitely
Not
not
now.
now. Yeah.
Definitely not now. I don't think the Jets offense is going to be able to do anything if Cook is their quarterback. And all that, and that just means that the rest of that offense is just toast. Um, yeah.
Done.
I just can't believe that the Giants still have Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, and Philip Rivers is coming back at 44 years old, and we have some guy we never heard of playing quarterback for the Jets. I mean, they could
Well, the
literally
trade
just
deadline's
say,
passed.
Russell, just go put on that jersey and play for
All
us
right,
today.
just walk across the locker room. Like it's right there, buddy.
It's
Um,
baffling to me. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Brees Hall is a viable. Again, he's in that Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce thing now. Like his
yeah.
floor has come down because they're just going to stack the box and make Cook beat them. And if you get beat by this Cook guy on the Jets, then it wasn't your day to win.
Yeah.
Like,
Drake London's already been announced out, but he's been out for 3 weeks. What do you guys think? This is not injury related. Did you see the Joe Burrow thing today?
no.
He was sitting there and they were kind of asking him, and he's like, the main thing for me now is to have fun. Like, it's the most important thing for me. Remember earlier in the year when he got hurt and we were starting to say, is he going to Andrew Luck it, and just be like, I'm tired of getting hurt? You guys should look at the press conference from today, and
Yeah.
he just kept saying, it's all about fun. I gotta get back to having fun, and it sounded like a person miserable playing football. And he even said, after I've been through a lot, so what I'm coming back, I'm fighting back to obviously make the playoffs and have some fun. And it just sounded like the most dejected person. But I obviously he's going to go out there and sling it because he wants to have fun. It's not
Yeah,
like
he's
he's
going to
giving
sling it. I
up.
just I just wonder if at some point the Bengals, this has nothing to do with fantasy, right? But at some point I wonder if the Bengals are like, you're not having fun here. We could attract a lot if we put you on the trade block,
Oh yeah,
right? Like it might be beneficial for both sides, right? Like give Joe a fresh start and give the Bengals two first rounders and a second rounder, or two first rounders and a third. Like, you know what I mean? Like you'll get picks for Joe Burrow.
oh yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh,
and it could be,
it
I
would
don't
be
know,
like a Herschel Walker trade.
100%. I don't know, but yeah, I'll go back and check it out. But you're right. Like he just, after those two interceptions on Sunday, you could see all the fizzle come out of the Bengals because
Yeah,
there was that hope. Like we're beating the Bills. If we can win this game, we're going to win our next game. And
yeah.
then as soon as it was over, and I think that was, and he doesn't target Jamar Chase at all. Like, what's up with that?
I don't get it. Well, now he's going to have to because T. Higgins is in concussion protocol, and the Bengals are going to get in trouble for that.
Big time.
Yeah, he should have. I don't understand how he was on the field. Speaking of trouble, you guys hear any good Michigan stories? Um,
Oh man,
that
what's
guy,
happening there?
he's in jail. Like
Yeah, that's what I
they
was
just
telling Fee before you came on. Like they fired him and then he got arrested.
apparently, like some people are saying he went to the mistress's house, and I guess he was like all in a panic and trying to get into the mistress's house. And I guess I don't know if that's true. That's like the initial reports because
Allegedly.
right, it just broke like before we got on the show, right? Like we don't have any information aside from the fact that he's in custody. Like
Right.
it's
So
been a crazy day for that guy. Um, anyway, let's go on the locks of the week. We are 9 for 14 on the season as a 3-and-out team. This is actually the best year all three of us have done. Usually someone runs away with it and someone's really bad and someone's just right in the middle, but we were all pretty much even. Dutton is 7 for 14. Fee is 7 for 14. I'm 8 for 14. And when we pick this and we reconvene for a Super Bowl episode in a month or so, we will have a nice round 15 and we could talk about how we did with a 15 picks on the year. So let's just get started. Dutton, who's your lock of the week for the final week?
I'm not sure why the Ravens are favored against the Bengals going to Cincinnati because I saw the Ravens play last Sunday and I
Yeah,
saw the Bengals play last Sunday, and one team looked a lot better. I'm taking the Bengals plus 1.5.
I like that pick. I was going to do it too. Hey,
Uh, I'm torn basically because of what we were just talking about with the Jets. So um, I have two games here picked, and I'm really undecided on which one I should go with. Any help? What do you think?
both those spreads are ridiculous, but I would go with the Jags.
All
Yeah.
right, fine.
I'm telling you, I don't trust the Philip Rivers thing. Like I think he could be sneaky and they're going to score points and you're going to be surprised. 13 and a half is a ton.
That is a ton. All right, I'm gonna go with the Jaguars minus 11 and a half against the Jets.
Yeah, I like that
I
one
think
much
I
better.
think the Jets have pretty much packed it in at
Yeah.
this point.
Who we don't even know. Like I literally don't know four of their players. I never heard of them before, and it's crazy. And they're like legitimate starters. I'm going with Fee's New York Football Giants over the whatever's left of the Commanders, as we were just talking about. They do have good wide receivers still. I'll give them that. But Marcus Mariota, or however you say
Mariota.
Mariota.
Mariota, however he said it. I think the Giants are home. So I give the Commanders 2.5, and let's go with the G-men for Fee, and send this off on a good way. What do we think? Who are we locking in for our final lock of the week of the 25 season?
I was going to pick the Giants, so I like the Giants.
Fee hates
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I do hate it, but I do not want to take the Bengals, so
Okay.
I'll go with the Giants. It's fine.
Giants it is. So I'm going to walk you through this. Earlier today, Taco has a picture in the snow. At approximately 5 or 6 o'clock, we get a picture of him in a hot tub. Then we get a text that his clips from the hot tub look creepy. So we said, don't go with that. And then he said, I just had it, but a dude got in the hot tub and killed the vibe. So here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna show you a picture of what of what Taco picked because I want not. This is not OnlyFans. This is 3-and-out. We don't need any of that hot tub stuff. We'll be right back. Even that was a little too
It's a
spicy
little
for
too spicy, that picture.
it was a little spicy. He's even got the stash going on. Yeah, it was a bad one. Fee, let's get that out of everyone's memory and get to your stacks of the week. I made a stack and I'm gonna read it to you when you're done.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna start us off with that Jaguars game against the Jets. Trevor Lawrence is only 7,200 this week. Super cheap for a quarterback. I think that going cheap is probably the way to go at quarterback. And you could stack him all over the place with a bunch of different guys. I have Jacoby Myers at 6,100, also very cheap. Travis Etienne at 7,500. He's on fire. Bashal Tutin fumbled last week and was put in a doghouse. He basically benched him. I don't know if that's going to continue this week, but Etienne probably should get a ton of run, even if Tootin does get some carries. But basically stack up that Jags game. Second stack of the week, I'm going with the 49ers playing Tennessee. Tennessee is bad. Their defense is bad. Their offense was better last week, especially against a good Browns defense, but I don't see that continuing to happen, even with San Francisco's defense not being the same. Cam Ward has taken the most sacks in the NFL this year. Just to put in perspective what their offensive line looks like. I'm going with Purdy at 7,500, so he's only a couple $100 more than Trevor Lawrence. Jawan Jennings at 6,200, and George Kittle at 6,500 is also in play. He's the third highest salary tight end, so he's sort of expensive for a tight end. But he's absolutely in play. He's not going to have to block in line like he does sometimes. So I think he's going to be out there catching a ton of passes from Brock Purdy. Couple of one-offs I like this week. Wan'Dale Robinson. We talked about the Giants a little bit. He's only 5,800 against Washington. Listen, he's the Giants' best receiver. Jackson Dart is going to pepper him with targets, right? Especially against the Commanders. Woody Marks against Arizona, he was banging it out last week. And he's only 6,500. It's a good salary for him. If the Texans continue to run the ball that way, I think that he's going to be a fantastic play against the Cardinals defense. Chris Olave for the Saints against Carolina, I kind of like a little bit. Tyler Shugg has shown a little bit. That offense has shown a little bit. And opposite that game, I also like Ted McMillan. He's 6,900 against the Saints. You can kind of go either way with those two. And of course, any Rams, right? So like Stafford, he's 8K, so it's going to be expensive. Puka is like 9,600, so he's super, or 9,700, so he's super expensive. Devontae Adams, I think, is 8,200. They're all expensive, but they're all going to put up crazy points.
Hmm.
And then I also really like Christian McCaffrey, right? So he is 9K on FanDuel, and again, they're playing Tennessee. Even if Tennessee is decent against the run, it doesn't matter with McCaffrey. He catches 1,000 balls out of the backfield. He's still going to run a ton, and you can stack him up with Purdy and Jennings also. And then I also really like these. I think this week could be a dual tight end week where you play a tight end in your flex spot because there's a whole bunch of cheap tight ends that look like they're in fantastic spots. We talked about George Kittle. I also really like either Mark Andrews at 5,300 or Isaiah Likely at 5,200 against the Bengals, who continue to give up tons and tons of catches and points to the tight end. And I think that only continues. I actually really like Likely this week over Andrews. It's such a tough decision between those two that it's almost a GPP play rather than a cash play because you never know which one is going to be the guy. But I do like Likely this week. And then Harold Fannin, I think Njoku is still out against Chicago at 5,700. Shador Sanders, I think, threw him 1 million passes last week.
Hmm.
And he is, other than Jerry Judy, basically his go-to guy. Check downs and whatnot and everything else. And Fannin was getting open big time last week. And Chicago hasn't really shown much as far as being like some sort of juggernaut defense where they're going to stop that. So I really like Harold Fannin this week at 5,700. Those are my guys.
Do you know Olave? I had no idea. In a PPR, is the seventh best fantasy wide receiver this year. Talk about
I
having the quietest
quiet.
dominant season.
I had no idea that it was that
It's
good.
that number in a PPR, he's number 7. He's averaging 14.3 points per game. Yeah, I just would have never he better than Nico Collins, AJ Brown, well, Drake London now because he's missed 3 weeks. But like, yeah, it's been crazy. Of course, Wandell is number 14. Um, okay, you ready? Fee, here's my lineup.
Yes, give it to me.
Joe Burrow, Etienne, which you already talked about. I'm
Yep.
going with Singletary because I needed to fill. I had no money left when I got to my second running back, and the Washington is terrible. Jamar Chase to stack it up with Burrow, especially with T. Higgins out. Wandale Robinson, because I would always go with Wandale Robinson. Jaden Higgins, I love this guy. He's always there on big downs. He's been getting 10 points a game. I'm going with Warren. Like I told you, he was cheap. And Seattle lets up touchdowns to the tight end. And that enabled me to get Barkley into my flex, and I'm going with the New York Football Giants on defense against Marcus Mariota. What do you think?
Um, there's a few plays that I like in there. There's a few that I don't really like.
You don't like Warren.
I don't like Warren.
Stop calling me
Um,
Warren.
I know. I'm okay with the Giants defense against Washington. That's fine. You know, their defense has actually been playing slightly better
Yeah.
recently. Now they're coming off the bye, so like that should be helpful. I love Wandale Robinson. I actually have him in a lineup currently that I've created. Um, who are your running backs again?
Etienne, Barkley,
Etienne, I
and
really like.
Singletary.
And yeah, Saquon and Singletary, I'm kind of
Barkley's playing the Raiders. It feels like the
yeah,
Raiders have
and
given up
yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
because I was going to go CMC, but
I,
Barkley against the Raiders is juicy.
so you like Barkley ahead of CMC, huh? Because
Well,
they're
just
right
because
they're
of the
right next to
money.
each other. Well, they're right next to each other in
Yeah.
salary. Well, $500 difference, but they are
Yeah.
right next to each other.
Yeah.
I do prefer McCaffrey. In that if I had to choose between the two, if you don't have enough money, you don't have enough money. But if I had to choose between the two, I'd try to get McCaffrey in there. I think Tennessee is just as bad as Vegas is, and I understand that
Yeah.
Vegas has probably cashed it in just like the Jets have. Um, but I don't know, man. Saquon himself. Listen, Philly doesn't look the same in
No,
general offense,
the
and
Super
Saquon
Bowl
doesn't look like
hangover.
himself either. I know that he got that one big 50-yard run for a touchdown, and that's fantastic. We talked about how there was a big hold on that play that didn't get called. That should have been called, and that would have taken that back. Um, could he break one here? Sure, 100%. He's Saquon Barkley. There's always a chance where he can do something. But more than likely, he's just gonna pound it into the line and
Yeah.
hope that something happens, right? So, like again, if you're gonna play him, it's probably more of a GPP play rather than a cash game play because I just don't think the floor is there for him.
He's the number 12 running back in fantasy football this year. Talk about a bust. Complete first round fantasy football bust. All right, so let's move on to our final starts of the sits for 2025. What we're going to do here is we're not giving you starts and sits for the week. We're giving you starts and sits for the next 3 weeks. The guys that you want starting on your playoff run if you have them, and the guys you want to fade if you have them in the playoffs. This will be a fun way. Guys, we also went perfect again on sits last week, I think. I know my picks all were perfect. I think maybe we missed one as a three and out. But we're crushing the sits again. So definitely listen to who you should fade here. Let's get started. Again, this is starts and sits for the remainder of the playoffs. People you want to get in your lineup and ride the hot hand. Dutton, start, quarterback, go.
I'm starting Dak Prescott because the Cowboys are just going to sling it with the hope that they might somehow sneak into the playoffs, but I don't think they will, but they're going to try.
Big.
I'm going to throw out Trevor Lawrence here. The Jaguars are going to be fighting till the end of the season. Yeah, they have Etienne and a good running game, but their offense has really come around a little bit here. I think Trevor Lawrence has come around a little bit. Jacoby Myers is playing really well. Brian Thomas Jr. is back.
Yeah,
Strange has been great. I
he
think that
has.
they're going to throw the ball, and I think Trevor Lawrence is going to get you a minimum of 20 points all 3 weeks.
I'm going with Jackson Dart. The guy runs the ball, and he's got the Commanders, the Vikings, and Vegas for the playoffs. Like, I'll take that all day long. Do we want to lock in one of these guys? Dak is going to be. Where does Dak right now as far as fantasy quarterbacks go? Let's look. He's got to be like top three, right? Yeah, he's number three. He's averaging 20.7. I'll go with Dak. I like the assessment.
Yeah, I'm good with Dak. Yeah.
All
All right,
right, Dak it is.
all right, Fee, get us started on the running. I love your running back. I think that's a great pick. Go ahead.
Yeah, so again, I'm trying to take guys that are like not the obvious guys, right? Um, Guys that I think that'll help you win a championship that maybe weren't necessarily the top tier guy in the beginning. But I'm going with RJ Harvey. And the Broncos have been really good. He's obviously like the workhorse back now with
Mhm.
Denver. There's no one really, you know, on his tail, chasing him, for carries or anything like that. It's basically all him. And yeah, I think that they ride RJ Harvey because I don't know that Bo Nix is necessarily an amazing guy. They have Jacksonville, Kansas City, and the Chargers. The Chargers would be a tough one. What is that? Oh, that's week 18. So
They have the
Yeah, no, they have
Packers
the
too.
Packers. Yeah,
This weekend
Packers,
they have the Packers.
yeah,
Jacksonville, Kansas City is
that's
what they
terrible.
have. That is pretty bad. But RJ Harvey is going to get plenty of
Right. I mean, and he catches the ball too. I like it. I like it. Dutton, I love yours, hopefully for our sake. Who you got?
Yeah, he is the new version of Isaiah Pacheco. He runs angry,
He
Omari and
does.
Hampton. And like he had a good welcome back this past week with a touchdown. I think, we'll see Vidal's numbers drop and Hampton's numbers go up in terms of carries and stuff. So yeah, I like Omari and Hampton, especially with the injury to Herbert, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm going with Woody Marks. I'm not being biased here because obviously I've been against Woody Marks. I just didn't understand what people were seeing in him. But here's the thing. If the Texans are going to win games, they got to keep the ball away from the other team. So they're going to hand it off. And Woody Marks has been proven to be, he's the closer. He's going to be the fourth quarter guy, and he's going to get all the yards because they're just going to be handing the ball off and keeping the ball out of CJ Stroud's hand and trying to end the game. So that's why I have Woody Marks. Uh,
Woody Marks has Arizona, Vegas, and the Chargers.
there
yeah.
you
So
go.
you have one tough defense left.
Yeah,
Granted,
but
it's
the
in the Super
Chargers are
Bowl.
week 18. You're probably not playing them.
No, the
We
17.
They're
Oh,
17. They'd be the
oh.
championship game. But again, if they're going to beat the Chargers and they're beating real teams on this 5-game winning streak, they're going to
Right.
pound it. And that's what they've been doing with Woody Marks. And so I think even in that game, he gets you, it may be 10 boring points, but it's still 10 points. I wanted to lock in Harvey or Hampton. Which one do you guys want to lock in?
I wanted to go with Marks.
Dut,
I'd be okay
you're
with
the
RJ Harvey or Woody
I think I'm
Marks.
going with Hampton because I don't know if I can trust Woody Marks with some of the matchups he has.
we don't have to pick a lock because these are like you should be starting all these guys, right? Like that's our
Right.
projection here.
The only problem I have with Hampton, I don't want to take Hampton. If we had to lock somebody, I would not take Hampton. The only problem I have with Hampton is because Kamani Vidal is there too,
Yeah.
and they are
What a
kind of
weird
splitting.
sentence.
They are split. I know they are
So weird.
splitting
Woody Marks
carries.
it is.
Okay. Wide receiver, you know who I'm going with. I called it in July that this guy was going to have a monster year. He's the 14th best receiver, and he has, again, we talked about it. He has the most yards out of the slot of any receiver this year, Wandell Robinson. And we already talked about the schedule with Jackson Dart. It's very easy. And like you said this week, he's just going to have targets all over him against the Commanders. Dutton.
Jameson Williams, I think again, it's the similar thing. The Lions are going to have to scrap to get into the playoffs. I mean, they have a much easier path than the Cowboys, but Jameson has been coming along lately. And Jared and him are hooked up, and Amon Ra's still kind of banged up, so I think Jameson Williams gets more targets.
Wait,
I'm sticking with that Jaguars theme, and I'm going with Jacoby Myers. He's been playing real well with Trevor Lawrence. He's basically their number one guy over Brian Thomas Jr.
yeah,
They've got the Jets, Denver, and Indianapolis, and the Jaguars are going to be fighting for a playoff spot. So I really like Jacoby Myers.
love it.
The answer is Wandell. The
You want
answer
to
is
lock
Yeah,
in
Wandell.
it's Wandell.
Yeah, baby.
100%.
All right, tight end. Fee, get us started.
All right, I am rolling with Harold Fannin Jr. on the Browns, helping Shador out. Um, I think that he's going to have a really good game this week, and I think it's going to continue for the rest of the season. They have Chicago, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh. Buffalo and Pittsburgh are at home in Cleveland. Um, and it's too bad they don't have Cincinnati because they play them week 18 because that would have been amazing. But
Yeah.
I really like Hal Fadden Jr. if you're not going to take a top tier guy.
Dutton.
Kobe Parkinson of the Rams. Fee picked him last week. I had him on my team. He scored a touchdown. Devontae has a nicked up hamstring, so he's a little questionable right now. He didn't practice today. And let's be honest, if Matthew Stafford's throwing the ball and you're open, you're getting the ball. So
Yeah. I'm going with Hunter Henry. I think he's been their leading receiver for the last 3 weeks as it is. And then he's got the Bills, the Ravens, and the Jets, and none of those defenses really intimidate me against the tight end. But I think if I'm picking one of these guys, I think Fannon's the choice because
Yeah,
Shador loves him.
yeah, for sure.
So
He gets open too. I mean,
he
he's
does.
really
He's
good.
been
He is
great all
really good.
season. I remember first week he had a great week right out of the gates. If we think we advise starting all of those guys down your championship stretch, but the locks of the three and out that we have are Dak Prescott at quarterback, Woody Marks at running back, Wandell Robinson at wide receiver, and HFJ. Can we call him that? Harold Fanning Jr. HFJ at tight end. Let's keep going with the sits and end this the season. Dutton, get us started, and I was going to pick him too.
Because I was going to pick yours. That's why I went with this one. But I'm sitting Lamar because we've been saying it for weeks. When I say he's not good, it's not that his talent is not good.
Right,
Something is wrong with him right
a
now.
hundred
And
percent.
yeah, like, I mean, people went nuts because he ran in a touchdown last week. Like,
Yeah.
something's
Uh,
off there.
Fate.
I'm going with Justin Herbert. I hate to say it, because I do really like Justin Herbert a lot, but now he's got that broken hand. He got hit bunch of times on that hand last week. I don't know, man. I just don't like it. If you gotta start somebody, I think you stay away from Justin Herbert for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah. Look, I'm going. Look, Bo Nix struggled against the Jets, the Giants, and the Commanders, and he's got Green Bay, Jacksonville, and Kansas City. Like Bo Nix, you do not start this guy in the playoffs. Maybe I'll have a big game in one of them, but that's way too high risk, low reward. I like I said, I think it's Lamar. I think if you have Lamar, which is crazy, going into the playoffs, you have to find an alternative. That's would be mine.
That's kind
What?
of why I went with it because it's nuts to think that you're sitting Lamar, but you kind
Yeah,
of have to.
yeah.
In my in my
Running
in
back.
one of my other
Oh,
in one of my other leagues, I have Daniel Jones and Lamar Jackson,
Oh my
oof.
gosh. Well,
and
good
and
thing
like
you have one that's healthy.
there's like
Hey,
nobody to pluck off the waiver wire
Philip
either.
Rivers.
Yeah.
Uh, Fee, get us started at sits for running back.
I'm sitting Brees Hall for the rest of the season. The Jets, we talked about it, have basically packed it in. And if whoever that guy, someone Cook, is their quarterback for
Yeah,
the rest of the season, like that is just a recipe for disaster. I would sit Brees Hall for the rest of the season.
done.
We talked about him earlier. Again, it's hard to sit him. I don't want to tell you to sit him, but I'm just telling you, be cautious of the points that Jonathan Taylor is going to give you in the playoffs.
Yeah,
You're
I agree.
not getting the early season Jonathan Taylor points the rest of this season with Philip Rivers back there and the matchups that they have left. So
Sorry, Fee. I know you have him, but I'm going to tell you to sit Derrick Henry. He'll find the end zone this week against the Bengals, but then you got the Pats and the Packers, and that offense, as we just said with Lamar, does not look good enough for me to trust Derrick Henry against those two defenses. Jonathan Taylor's bold. I think Brees is the
Brees Hall is
easy.
the answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's the easy choice to stay far, far away from. Wide receiver. Sorry, Dunn, but I think
I had him and then I saw you had him.
Amika Agbuka, first of all, I Baker is the reason I'm missing the playoffs because he laid a dud last week, and I needed to win that game in our league. Uh, Baker's been on the downfall, and he's obviously playing injured. But like Fee said, he might find the spark. But Mike Evans is a game or two away, and Chris Godwin's back, and Bucky Irving's back, and he loves to check down the Bucky Irving. Like Abuka is great, but his numbers have been going down since Baker's been going down,
It's
and he's
also
also
a
not
longer, it's also his rookie year. They
it,
all hit that wall.
and he's also not the only guy anymore. He was the only guy for about 4 weeks that
Not
he
to
was
mention he
doing.
Chris
dropped a
Godwin's
touchdown
back
that would
now.
have won the game last week.
Fair enough. Fair
But
enough.
we're not talking about it, but we are.
Fee.
Uh, I'm I'm sitting Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know that you actually can sit him,
Right.
but man, it has been a rough go for him the
Yeah.
last several weeks. I know JJ McCarthy looked better last week. I do not trust that at all. And not only that, but like even though JJ McCarthy looks a little bit better, it doesn't really mean much for his wide receivers.
It was
If
the
they're not,
Commanders.
and it was the Commanders.
Right.
Great point. Great point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just I do not see any Vikings player helping out fantasy wise for the rest of the season. So I'm sitting Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Dutton.
I'm sitting CeeDee Lamb. He was fencing his arms after his concussion last week. He's out this week. He might be out next week. At that point, maybe you have him for the finals. But if the Cowboys have nothing to play for by that week, then are they playing CeeDee Lamb? So that's my worry about CeeDee Lamb.
This is my entire team.
Justin Jefferson has scored. This is in PPR, mind you. 7.7, 11.1, 8.8, 2.4, and 3.1 over the last 5 weeks. Justin Jefferson, who was like a top 5 pick in fantasy football, is the 25th best fantasy football receiver in PPR. That is criminal, and JJ McCarthy should be locked up for
Okay,
not
so if
targeting
Justin
this.
Jefferson is the 25th best receiver, that means that Brandon Aubrey and
Yeah, he's outscoring him.
has outscored Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
If you can only play a kicker in your wide receiver spot.
Or your flex spot at this point. Like, are we going to be able to flex kickers soon? Is that going to be a thing?
It's so bad. So who we locking in?
I was going to pick a
I'm-
Mecca because I think he hit the rookie wall.
That's
I'm
fair.
good with that. Yep.
Okay. Tight end, nobody picked him, but I'm going to tell you right now before we get into it, you can't bench Kyle Pitts because he's the only thing the Falcons have right now, and he's had 2 good weeks in a row. Well, for Kyle Pitts, let's
Let's
bump
the bar's not
brakes a
very
little
high.
bit.
Right.
But he didn't make the list. I'll just start. I said Mark Andrews thing with the whole Ravens thing. He may have a good week this week against Cincinnati because they allow touchdowns to the tight end like it's part of the game plan. But after that, he's been invisible the rest of the year. Fee.
Dallas Goedert. I know that he has been one of the bright spots for the Philly offense, but there is no way I could trust anybody on that Philly offense after what they just showed last week.
Yeah. Dutton.
I'm sitting Travis Kelce because I think he forgot how to catch.
It's been bad.
How many times have we watched the ball hit his hands and then become an interception this year? It's happened more than 3 times, I think.
Oh yeah. It's been and the look of disgust on his face. It's like
he knows
he can't figure out why he can't catch a football, and that's like scary.
Right.
It's like,
Right,
what's wrong
right.
with you, dude?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not on the list, but like I said, we can't lock in Kyle Pitts. But I feel weird not having Kyle Pitts on the final episode.
I think the answer is Mark Andrews, though.
Okay, Mark Andrews it is. So again, we recommend sitting all of these people. I like them all. On your playoff run if you can. But the 3 and out locks of sits are Lamar Jackson at quarterback, Brees Hall at running back, and Mika Agbuka at wide receiver, and Mark Andrews at tight end with a hat tip to Kyle Pitts once again. Gentlemen, that's it for season 6. Anything you want to add until we reconvene? Remember, we will be back with our annual Super Bowl preview show, but that's not until February. So you're going to have to sit tight. Gentlemen, anything to say before we sign off?
Millbrook Wildcats playing for the state championship tomorrow night. It's a big deal down here.
Faith?
I just want to say thank you to everybody out there for listening and watching us all season long. We appreciate it. And we do this for you guys, and I'm just happy that we can continue on with this and have fun with it.
Yeah, and that means we're going from episode 6 to 7.
Season
6, 7.
There you go.
And Brooklyn will be so happy to hear that. Anyway, go win your playoffs. And when we come back on the Super Bowl, we want to hear all about your fantasy football championships because you listened to us this week.
I'm tell you all about how I lost.
Because I won again back to back, maybe.
Dutton and I will be holding up our first trophy together as well. Thank you for another great season. We'll see you next time on 3 and Out.